Hi. So today I was pretty lucky and I got to see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Good movie, lots of self-disclosure. Marvel always loads us up with tons of things. And one thing that really stood out to me is a thing in a movie that was called Dreamwalking. The way it was explained in Marvel comics and Marvel movie and the way it's shown is basically a person usually in the state of their dreams, but sometimes using various ways, magic and books and everything else, they can sort of like transplant their consciousness or sort of like themselves into another universe where their other like self or alternate self lives and sort of possess that body, become it and use it. And basically, if I would have a different body on an alternate Earth, like let's say it looks like me, but just has a whole different life. And this me makes YouTube videos, and that me is maybe working as a teacher or doing something else. So, I would basically fall asleep, I would get into that body, and I would become it. I would possess it, as they put. But for me, there's a lot of people, from my perspective, there's a lot of people that get out of body, that do the consciousness shifting, the whole astral projection, astral traveling, where their consciousness do get into the bodies of their other lives. But the thing is, from my experience, it is never a possession. Well, at least haven't happened on my end. I can't say that it doesn't happen to some beings, but there's a difference. In the movie, the way they put it kind of scared people. It kind of pushed you, if you go into that universe, into that body, you're possessing that body, taking over the life. You were the big bad entity being, doing bad things. Don't do it. And if you are kind of going offside, maybe you would like to remember or experience the you that died. Oh, there are going to be lots of entities coming after you and punishing you. So don't do it. And, like there's a lot of that little things. But what happens, let's say when I get out of body, my physical body falls asleep. I get out of body, I do astral traveling, and I, let's say, take one of my alternate lives. But what happens, the whole merging or me, just I wake up and I'm in that body. The being that I was in that life knew that, oh, look, there is another part of me coming in. The me that came, like, oh, look, that's me. And these parts get in one body. So let's say I close my eyes, I fall asleep, and I open my eyes and I'm in another body. I know it's my life. But what happens is that it's not a takeover. I don't suppress my other part. It's not suppressed and hidden and do not dare to show up. I'm going to play with this body now. It's like full connection. Oh, it's you. Yay. And with that, everything I know as that body, everything that alternate self of me knew in that life, I know now. My agendas and whatever I experienced in this life here on Earth is not a priority anymore. It's not a thing. It's not like, well, I've had a relationship with this person and I've had goals and here's what I want to do. When I go there, all the stuff that happened here on Earth and everything I know with this physical body, in my case here, is not a thing anymore. It's not a priority. It doesn't matter. You're not even bringing it up and thinking about it, because when you go to that body, you're focused on that life and the story of that beingness that you are over there. So you're not going to think of the you on Earth and everything you did. You will have the memory. You will have the knowingness. But the priorities, it's like you don't have the case. All the issues that were like a burden on you, it's not ringing and like hurting you and triggering you, because you don't have those things anymore. You have knowledge, you have information, but you're not crushed by it. So me getting out of body and going into other like lives, or what was called in Doctor Strange dream walking, sort of possessing their lives. It's not a possession. It's connecting and becoming that. And all of a sudden, everything that my body there knows, I know. And when I wake up here, I bring it back. And at the same time, there's this filter. How much do I want to know? And all these relationships and everything else that happened, do I want to keep it? If it's a no, then the same way you have your dream memory fade away, so the experience will fade away too. Like you will have knowledge of, oh, I went there, I did this and everything else. But all the details that don't really matter to you, or is not a thing anymore in this world, when you're back, it's not playing a part. The other part of you doesn't feel suppressed. The other part of you doesn't feel like, oh shit, there it is, another part of me taking over, I have no control. It's more like unison. You both like, hey, and you get together and you just get stronger. Everything good that you have gets empowered. You don't bring your physical case, you don't bring your problems, you don't bring your issues or your pain. You have the knowledge that things happened. You have the knowingness, but nothing else. It doesn't bring like, oh, you come all depressed. Like, no, another life, a whole different you, and life is good. So with that, like traveling and like learning about your other parts and alternate versions and what are you doing over there, you can learn a lot. You can see the varieties of life and what can happen. You can see where are you when you're not suppressed? What would you do? What's interesting to you? And it was like learning experience, or just like sort of, hey, this is a bit more fun. And it doesn't have to be necessarily on Earth. It doesn't have to necessarily be the solar system or the whole, anything as regards Milky Way or Andromeda Galaxy or the 3D. You can go way beyond that. And I don't know, like, it's just great. So it seems like in a Marvel movie of the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, as good as it is, like, there's a lot of self-disclosure, a lot of good information. And I'll make more videos about the little details that I sort of like and want to bring up. But this whole getting out of body thing, I don't think we should scare people with that. Of course, I'm sharing my own personal experience. I know how to do this stuff. I know how to avoid the issues and the problems. And when I get out, I either get out of the duality, so I don't involve myself in the good, bad, right, wrong, the physical universe wars and everything else. I get out and I'm like, I'm done with this place. Let's get out of here. I don't care. Other times, if I do care, I'm going to be in the war zones. I'm going to be like seeing the planets being destroyed and people with their guts out and everything else. And there's going to be like way more gory and everything else than the whole movie showed. So, just because I'm talking like all positive, happy, hype and everything else, because I go to those places, I choose to go there. I have experience enough that I for myself can manage, and you're like, hey, I don't want to look at that stuff, so I'm just going to choose good stuff. But other people, if they do not have enough knowledge of how things work, that everything that you focus on and how you feel, you're going to direct yourself where you're going to go and what you're going to experience. So let's say if you're all triggered and you don't have much knowledge of what's going to happen and your abilities of what you can do, and, like, that's going to put you in a little bit like limited perspective of what's possible. And with that, when you get out of body, you can get into the lower astral realms. So let's say the closer you are to Earth and the physical universe and the Milky Way and the solar system and everything else like it, it's like the closer you're pulled to the problems. So what people perceive as hell, or some people say Earth is hell, but have you seen even worse than Earth? Because there's a lot of those. There's a lot of places that's just incubus and succubus world. A lot of places that are demonic and satanic and, just beings like cannibalism and psychopaths and everything else live in one place, and that's their kingdom and they love it. And they're just like constant massacre and let's capture people and blow them up and eat them and everything else. Like, it just happens. So like, it really depends where you go. There's a lot of dark things happening, a lot of wars, a lot of abductions, human slavery, and just trading with body parts and blood and plasma and adrenochrome and everything else. There's tons of details. But what you have to do is, the more you learn about the possibilities, you can direct your consciousness and say, hey, I'm a God, I'm a creator being, and whatever I choose to believe and whatever I focus on, I can create and manifest that and go there. So, hearing all those things about the grid around Earth, the white light, the archons, the beings that will lie to you, and soul traps and everything else that will be scary, yeah, that's limiting. Those things do exist, but you can choose to go around it. You can choose to believe that and experience it, but you can also choose like, yeah, some people that want to experience it will like experience that. It's the same thing as for someone, 2012 was like, hey, down of the world, we're all gonna die. And those that believed in that died But in your reality, you're still here. You've heard about the end of the world probably tons of times, but you chose to believe, to go on, that things might be better, that maybe it's not going to happen. And that led you here to this point where you're alive and everything you're still on creating, and it's all life. And you can create, like, you can believe in soul traps and the grid and the archons and everything else, or you can say, fuck it, I am the creator. And what I choose to believe and focus on, I can direct myself there. This is why while I'm not the perfect and the best example, but from my own personal experiences and getting out there every night, I learned that I can confront the dark side, get involved in the game of physical universe and Earth and the Milky Way and the solar system and everything else, and get myself involved in wars and in the abductions and getting all that hardcore stuff. I can experience that if I choose to. I can work on, let's open up the hole on this whole Earth grid and make sure people can get out. Or I can choose to get the fuck out of the duality. No good or bad, no right or wrong, no pain, nothing like that. I have my own world. I have beings I know. There's tons of things to experience without this. Most people don't consider it. Most people haven't thought of the possibility. Or, there's a lot of scare stories. It's this, causing this fear. It's the same way. If you would have a choice after your death right now, like, yeah, you're going to die in an hour. It doesn't matter how. But would you choose to, let's say, get out, and then now you're involved in the program with the good guys, the Pleiadians and Lyrans and maybe Taigetans, maybe someone you trust, and you can go and help Earth, from like not getting on Earth, but from the side, go to war, fight reptilians and shoot them and see your buddies die, but you're fighting for what's right. You're fighting for people on Earth. Or would you choose to get away? Go to your world where you can relax, get away from this physical human case, the pain, the programming, all the good, bad, right, wrong, and everything that triggered you. And you can just have this rehab. No more programming. You can remember your past lives. You can remember everything you did before if you want to. Your true abilities. Who are you, Sabine? What did you do before? What would you prefer? To get involved in the war and in this whole game of, like life on Earth and people here and everything that's going on, let's fix every single fucking issue? Or are we going, hey, just, I can be a cog in this whole system and someone's going to use me and I'm just a player, or just get the fuck out and do what you want to do. You want to have some fun? Go have some fun. Have your own harem, like go and play Elden Ring, be in the Elden Ring world, like be in some other games like Ghost of Tsushima or Horizon or something that you like. Create your worlds where you can relax. Go see, like, hey, you have some lovers, like let's say people or animals that have passed away. There's a realm where that consciousness that you know and experience here on Earth that you love has a world where they know you. And you can go there and meet them, have their love, talk to them, and just like, who needs a fucking war and solving problems when it's all sort of set and both parties are like enjoying it and, like, hey, you're going to play chess, you're going to play Monopoly, and you can get really involved. But at the end of the game, you remove all the figures, remove all the houses and take the money, and you put it all back in the box. And this whole thing that's going on Earth, eventually, when you're looking for the bigger picture, someone's still moving the figures. And you might be the figure, someone might be moving you, and you might get really involved in everything that's going on. Like, the whole pawns fighting and you see your people die and it hurts you, your company falls apart, you lose your job, monies are going away, inflation, tons of problems on Earth, and, whatever scale you're looking at. And you're a pawn looking at all like your friends dying and everything else, like scary. But you can also be the player using the pawns, or you can be like, yeah, I know the chess game. I'm not really into it. I would much rather paint. I would much rather play piano and be creative, and no need to have a competition and fight it out. Good, bad, right, wrong. No, I'm just going to express my soul and consciousness and creativity and everything else. So that being said, getting out of body, the whole dream walking in the movie. I really love that they showed that, but like in the movie, it was portrayed as a bad thing, as if it's a possession. From my perspective, I've never encountered that, and I would be interested in if like how like if you have ever gotten out of body, did the astral traveling, and met your other parts. How did the other you react to you? Have you ever merged? What happened during the like merging? Like, did you possess the body and took over and like, haha, now it's mine. Let's ruin this life or do whatever, or what happened? So, anyway, that being said, great movie. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.